So late at night I couldn't find another deathmatch server than a Russian one that was filled with life. Alright, Russian Destroyer, I see you. Wait, what? Anti-cheat? Am I actually playing Counter-Strike right now? It could be just that easy, Valve? Speaking about which, deathmatch is going to be the very first community server that I will need to list here. Why not just play the regular deathmatch? Because spawn protection is huge garbage. A well set up community deathmatch has instant reloads upon killing enemies, some even heal you a third of your HP, and there's an immediate respawn without any protection. Who cares if you get instant spawn killed when you are back into the game not even a second later, rather than someone trying to track my head for 5 seconds straight, then swapping weapons to auto shotgun and one-tapped me while he was still spawn protected the entire time. There's also only headshot and pistol deathmatch with or without only headshot. That's going to be up to you. I like to mix it up and it just makes for a really nice practice and or warm up. By the way, if you want to look into any of these, I will have the short form that you need to type into the community server search right here. Next up on the list is going to be Retake. Now with Counter-Strike 2 where they decided to remove it once again after porting it from the community in the first place, we now need to go to community servers to play it at all again. If you are not familiar with this mode, you basically choose a kit and play a retake scenario, mostly for CTs versus 3Ts with teams constantly shuffling through. This is where you want to go if you feel like your aim is already pretty crispy, but you want to improve on your game sense and crosshair placement. Since you can't not host locally anymore, this can be a pretty nice way to spend some casual time with your homies while shooting each other up in a more fast-paced variant of Counter-Strike as well. Next up is going to be duels and arena, so I basically feel like these are the same thing. You can type !guns to choose your loadout on both. On duels, you will have your own loadout against whatever the enemy picked, while in arena, you can set rules for how you like your fights and will fight your opponent who's running the same kit as you. If you win your fight, you will go into a higher arena. If you lose, you will go into a lower arena. This way you will be matched against someone on your skill level on the server. In duels on the other hand, your enemy is random and changes from time to time. You can also challenge someone to a 1v1 under specific conditions. Like this one time, you can see in the background that I had way too much fun to run more than 100 duels AWP no scope against this random guy that challenged me. It doesn't really matter which one you are going to play, they are both great for your 1v1 awareness, reads and game sense for clutch situations, but duels is more popular right now, so it might be easier to find a server for that. We also just can't forget the all but gold AWP only servers. There's also deathmatch AWP nowadays, which probably trains you way faster since you get into more action, but there's just something to these AWP India, AWP Lego maps that make me want to get up early, make a really nice cup of cappuccino, cuddle into my sheets and play until everyone else quits the server. It's just very fun. Some servers even offer skin changes if you are low on budget, and just overall it is a great way to practice some AWP and movement whenever you're trying to dodge a bullet, for example. And I just wish they brought back the epic 1v1 options that these servers used to have back in CSGO for the last two people alive. OGs will remember what I'm talking about. Another classic is going to be the surf servers. So whenever you're setting up a workshop map, there can be a lot of problems, especially when it comes to surf. Unpolished edges, wrong or just missing settings, and I found myself in CSGO more often than not needing at least some console comments to make a map playable. Well, that was in the early days and got a little bit better rather fast, but today there's just no more need for it, because with surf community servers, you have already a well set up map with the settings made by someone else who's clearly got some passion for it, since renting a CS2 server isn't exactly that cheap, obviously depending on the specs. But it's also just great if you get stuck at some part, because online you can just ask for immediate help and advice, and if you're just a surf god that doesn't need advice, you can flex on others and start setting records to go somewhat competitive in this fun game mode. I know it's pretty similar, but it's not the same thing, so it also needs a mention, and that's going to be surf combat. It's basically surf, but you get a weapon. On the server I used to play, it's going to be an AWP. And while surfing, you can try to take off the other players. For this you need somewhat advanced surf skills, so I recommend starting out on normal surf, but if surf is your kind of passion, then surf combat is a must try, and just overall really fun. And you can't deny that it's stylish as hell, no scoping someone while flying by on 900 units per second and more. Since we already got into the more funnish arcade style game modes, we should also talk about bhop servers. So bunny hop servers are very fun, but don't really train anything else outside of it. There's plugins and settings that will make it very easy to bunny hop and way faster than you can do it in the actual game. So you aren't even practicing actual bunny hopping, but it's real fun time whenever I'm trying to do it, and it's perfect to calm down after a tilting match or just to enjoy your skins when you are bored of the actual game. A community server type a lot of players have been waiting for since way too long is going to be the KZ servers. So why don't you just load your map in the workshop? Well, if you're a movement god, wouldn't you want to flex on the other players? Set record times, amaze newer players, and if you're on the other side of history and are just getting started, there isn't a better way to practice KZ or your movement than on a server, because if you get stuck on a jump, you won't spend hours researching which kind of movement magic is required to make this and how to do said magic. You can just ask another player on the server for help, and more often than not, someone will love to show and explain it to you. So probably one of the best, if not the best way to improve your movement. Hide and seek, or better to say maniac, is the new take on the famous genre hide and seek. While in the original one you become a seeker after being caught, a maniac has a set amount of seekers at the start and has more open maps that rely more on movement and secret passages than standing still inside of a bush. You can't talk about the community mode for CS without mentioning Zombie Escape. It's been part of CS for like forever and even has its own spin-off in the game's franchise. But what exactly is Zombie Escape? You basically try to survive the longest on a parkour map while a random player gets chosen as the first infected. Whoever they kill become also infected. The survivors can fight back with their own kit, but the zombies have insane amounts of health. As you might think, there's multiple approaches and strategies to this. I for my part like hiding behind the zombies, or just running with them, pretending I'm one of them until I get stabbed in the second place. We are going to take that. Back to more serious game modes, we want to talk about Clutch. It's basically Retake, but you are being put into the position of a lonely terrorist on a 1v3, 1v4 or 2v5 with the bomb plant. In this after plan scenario, you can practice these stressful situations to play them into perfection whenever it matters. While I personally thought my game sense is my strongest part of my gameplay, this mode taught me a lot more about positioning, since any mistake here will get you caught up in a crossfire. Let's talk about minigames. Not just any, but there are servers with a game mode directly called Minigames, which is basically a big hub with different games for a VIP to choose from. They are mostly purely fun, but sometimes even claim something specific, or just allow you to fly off into your friend's faith with a Nova. 10 out of 10, a must try for drunken Counter-Strike nights. Just like a Zombie Escape, an old school game mode is going to be the JB or jailbreak, basically as Simon says, where the CTs guard over the Ts players while they try to get their hands on a weapon to kill the CTs in stealth. Sadly, there were not any English servers around while recording this, so I don't really have footage to show you, but why don't you go and try it out for yourselves? I promise it's really fun.
Det er godt. Hallo, Warden. Jeg har et spørgsmål. Må jeg godt tage Deathrun og beskytte dig? Okay, tak. Hallo, hvis jeg rører ham i fucking i forud. Ja, du går væk med ham, mand. Nej, for afstand.
Last but not least, we cannot forget about Deathrun. Basically all players except one evil mastermind need to go through a jump and run parkour while their opponent has buttons to trigger booty traps with to kill our runners all the way to them. That's the best part, by the way. If you manage to get through, you will become armed and get the option to take revenge, or you can get really confused by how this works, start shooting the terrorists at the wall because you think you are going to make damage to the real one, because you can't find the mastermind hiding in the corner and end up getting knifed. But it's just for an example, of course, and not because I'm actually retarded. As you can see on this page, there are also some game modes like hide and seek down here in development currently. There was also prop hunt here some days ago, but they removed it either because they're going to full release it soon or because they cancelled it because they've run into some issues. We don't know, we just can be certain about one thing: the future for CS2 community maps is looking bright. There are more good old classics being ported over, being made anew, and we are going to see a lot of new creative ideas with the CS2 engine. And now you might wonder, what is this page? So this website is Cybershoke. It is basically a network out of multiple servers and it brings together the best game modes. As you can see, we can just browse for any duel 2v2, get your homie, play a wingman like 2v2 but faster paced. I will go on here, I will see the servers, I will copy a server or go to quick join. You just need to copy this into your server console, in your in-game client console, and you are good to go. You will be connected to the server. So this is best for variety, and if you have premium, you can even participate in giveaways or just buy skins in a facet-like way. Of course, there are more options than just Cybershoke to play. If you are more of a tryhard, if you just are looking for a way to improve, I recommend you check out WarmupServers. All these links will be in the description. WarmupServers is the best deathmatch server, the best warm-up and improvement server, and your chances are pretty high that you're going to run into the one or other pro like I ran into the pre the other day. I headshotted him once, 1 to 20, but my life is completed, killed the pre, let's go. Last but not least, I also have to recommend the CS2 browser. The community server browser in-game is pretty garbage right now, to be honest, and most of the time most servers are just not loading in for me. So go over to the CS2 browser. You can even filter, like I'm gonna filter for, whoops, now this is in here. I wanted to copy and paste zombie in here. So we have the zombie escape servers, and as you can see, they instantly pop up, no loading time. We have a lot of these servers, even with some filters available. You even have up here the categories, so you can go big here, you can sort for all the servers. This works way better than the in-game one, and again, you have the IP, you have the quick connect button, so pretty easy, self-explanatory stuff to connect. If you don't know how to find your console, let me know down in the comments below, I will help you out, or just make a quick Google search. There is plenty of material out there. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you have as much fun on the community servers as I do, and hopefully I will see you on there. Until then, have a nice day and see you soon.